We call it people technology.
インテル入ってる。
Well, best of evenings. This is Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time Out, powered by Intel. The first week of the IPL 2021 is just come and gone before you could blink an eye. And now we're all set to watch the Chennai Super Kings take on the Punjab Kings at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. It's a Wankhede Stadium that can produce anything. It can produce a 440-run fest that Punjab and Rajasthan served us. It can also give us a tight 148 game that we saw last night between the Delhi Capitals, who of course beat CSK in their opening game, and the Rajasthan Royals last night. That's where our attention lies. Match number 8 in Mumbai. Irfan, Pathan and Daniel Vettori are still with me, so I welcome them for another T20 timeout. And it's anyone's guess what sort of Wankhede pitch we'll get today. So let's be prepared for everything. Irfan, CSK though have won an important toss. They didn't win the last time. They've decided they're going to have a bowl first. I have no idea if that's now an advantage anymore in the IPL or not.
No. I think it will be an advantage because looking at the pitch, I always believe when you go touch the pitch, how hard it is, when you feel it, that's when only you can tell a little bit about the pitch. Otherwise, unless when you bowl the first over, otherwise you cannot know what's going to happen on the pitch. But looking at it, I think it's going to be a good belter as far as the batting is concerned. It will not be like yesterday because yesterday what we saw, it was like had a bit more greener grass than this one. So I think advantage CSK.
Okay, our tosses more importance to certain teams, Dan, and Chennai trying to prove a point after what was their worst season last year, come into this season with reinforcements, but in that last game, their 180 odd was gunned down by the Capitals. Do you get the feeling that for a team like Chennai, especially away from the Chepauk, it's even more important for them to win tosses and chase?
I think it's a great question. I think the dynamic and the way a team goes about things can be dependent on toss. And there'll be teams that you play and they'll say toss doesn't matter, we'll just get on with things. And there'll be other teams that once that coin goes up and you are doing the discipline that you want to, then there's a confidence goes through the team. So I think Chennai in particular, after a tough season last year, losing their first game, to be able to win the toss and dictate what they want to do will bring a lot of confidence to them. So I think you'll see them come out and be a little bit more aggressive with the ball to try and disrupt Punjab Kings.
Irfan, does this help Dhoni a little more? It looked like he was lost for answers when Dhawan and Shaw were going after them in the chase the other day. But does this help Dhoni winning a toss, bowling first, controlling the game with his bowlers, and then knowing what to chase?
You know, in the old 8 franchise, there are 2 teams which, for them, the toss is very, very important. Sunrisers Hyderabad and Chennai Super Kings. But both have to do the different things. CSK has to actually bowl first and chase down, and where Sunrisers Hyderabad has to defend the score because they have a wonderful bowling lineup. So, yes, it will definitely help Chennai Super Kings because the kind of bowling lineup they have, the kind of batting lineup they have, they bat really long. And the bowling lack a little bit of firepower, especially at the death. They have Sam Curran, they have Shardul Thakur, they have Deepak Chahar, and they have Bravo. They all, if you look at it, very, very similar. There is no one with extra pace. Ngidi hopefully will come back soon for Chennai Super Kings. That's when the whole dynamic of Chennai Super Kings bowling will be different. So that will be an advantage for them. But till then, this is much better for them to win the toss, which obviously not in anyone's control. But if you do it, chase down the score.
It does look like they would like to win as many tosses. Any team wouldn't mind it, but in particular CSK, like Irfan and Dan have pointed out. Now let's get straight into that conversation that Irfan brought about. CSK's bowling, it did look like it lacked a little bit of teeth in that game against Delhi Capitals. MS Dhoni shows faith in the same 11 though. So even at the risk of potentially losing another toss, he's not made a change. He's not brought in the wrist spin option of Imran Tahir or Karan Sharma. Both Lungi Ngidi and Jason Behrendorff, who's been called in as a replacement for Josh Hazlewood, are not yet available for selection. You think Ngidi will be available from the next game. So Bravo keeps his place along with Sam Curran in an 11 that sees everyone capable of holding the bat. Irfan talks about a one-dimensionalness to this bowling, Dan, in the absence of either a wrist spin or an out-and-out express quick. If you look at that now for this team to have to bowl first, is that an issue, or was that just one off day that they had against Delhi?
Well, it's an issue depending on the pitch they play on. I think if it's similar to the one that Delhi and Rajasthan played on, then Chennai have a very good bowling attack to exploit it. Their medium pace bowlers are able to hit the deck and then use their change of pace, and I think they can be effective. Jadeja or bowlers complement. I would suggest if it is in that similar condition as that last game. But if it is a traditional Wankhede wicket, then you look at that bowling attack and say there's no one there that can really get too many breakthroughs outside the first couple of overs. So Chennai will be slightly nervous about that bowling attack, but also it is the Chennai way not to change too much, to back people, to keep going there. But I think the one that position that is interesting is around Dwayne Bravo. He's batted 9 in the last game. He's there as a out-and-out bowler. Where his real strength has been in the past is his all-round game. And if he's not contributing as an all-round player, he is a slightly ageing fast bowler. And so there will be a lot of pressure on him around his 4 overs.
Is that the place that they could have used, even though Ngidi is not available this game, Irfan, but maybe change things up a little bit, play an extra bowling option in Tahir, you have enough batting? Was that the only place which you think is vulnerable, Bravo and CSK?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, when you look at Sam Curran and Bravo, they both are very similar when it comes to their ability. They both are all-rounders. Obviously, batting ability-wise, Sam Curran is much better. So, yeah, Bravo's place will be definitely in question. Obviously, he's been a wonderful bowler and batsman for CSK for a long period of time, but I think his performance has gone down, especially with the injuries and with the time as well. So I think going forward, you'll see if there is any changes, you'll see changes from Bravo's position.
It's amazing we're having this chat in spite of Bravo making this team with Sam Curran. You thought last season, Dan, that when Sam Curran turned out to be this great player for CSK, all that he would be Bravo's substitute until Bravo was fully fit and whatnot. All of a sudden, Sam Curran outplayed Bravo, and Dhoni and Fleming showed the faith in him. Now, when Bravo's fit, it was whether you continue with Sam Curran or leave Bravo out. But it looks like Dhoni just got tempted with the prospect of 2 guys who can do that job. Can that, as much as it sounds like an advantage, can it sometimes upset the balance that you've gone for 2 all-rounders when you should have ideally gone for one skill set that your team needs more?
Well, I think it comes down to the fundamentals of selection. And if you look at Chennai and the way they operate, they like to be loyal first and foremost, but they also like the multiple all-rounders. And I think with Jadeja, Sam Curran and Dwayne Bravo, they feel like they've got 3 there that can offer that to them. But the problem is probably that Sam Curran is the one that's become the most consistent. So when you have only one all-rounder perform that job, then it tests that philosophy, and I think that's what we'll see over the next few games, whether they feel like they can. But I think that Fleming and Dhoni in particular will give it as many opportunities as they can because Bravo has been so successful with them for an extended period of time. I think you will see them persevere with them.
All right. Now, Punjab pursued the same 11 as well. Thrilling game against Rajasthan Royals, but they did go for a lot of runs. Could they have relooked at any calls with the bowling? But KL Rahul has shown faith in both Riley Meredith and Jai Richardson. Yes, it's only been 1 game. And as Dan Vettori did point out in the preview to this game, that 2 for 100 is sometimes not a bad job between 8 overs of 2 bowlers who played their IPL debut. But that's the same team as beat the Rajasthan Royals in that thrilling game. M. Ashwin keeps his place, Irfan. Ravi Bishnoi continues to warm the bench. Any surprises that they've gone in with the same team from the last game?
No, obviously they want to keep the winning momentum going, and same team for that as well. And look, yeah, I was surprised for the first game when Ravi Bishnoi wasn't there in the side, because Ravi Bishnoi had one fantastic debut season, and not to see him in the playing 11 was surprising for me. But I guess they are backing Morgan Ashwin because of his versatility, because of he can spin the ball a bit more. He has a bigger googly than Bishnoi, especially in this sort of pitches, which can be really useful. So I think that's why they're gone. And obviously they will not be changing so soon when it comes to Riley Meredith and Jai Richardson. I still like to see in this playing 11 of Kings and Punjab that England fast bowler. He needs to be coming back in the side. Yes, Chris Jordan. Maybe not now. In the middle phase, you might see him play.
Yeah. I thought that might have been the more balanced point. The balanced selection, Dan. When you have Jordan, who's experienced in the IPL, who can bat as well, whether he could have been a more tempting option than playing Meredith and Richardson. But now that they've gone that way, you think you should get them at least, 3 or 4 games?
3 or 4 would be nice, I think. I think this is probably their last game if things don't go so well. And they will go with a more trusted Chris Jordan, who brings that more all-round option, brings a fielding option as well. His fielding is exceptional. So it really tests the franchise around what they believed at the start of the tournament. because things change so quickly when you've lost 2 games. So they spent all that money on Richardson and Meredith, and I think they will give them a chance, but it's going to be a short rope, and they'll look at their options that have worked previously with the second leg spinner, with the likes of Chris Jordan, even the all-rounder in Moses Enrique. So generally, it's the overseas players that get tinkered with the most around selection and around losing teams. So I think these two will be on notice around their performance tonight.
Okay, well, let's watch them bowl and then go to further judgment then. But what does yesterday's game do to teams that play the wankhede now, Dan? Delhi looked like they were still in the hangover of the first game, came out too hard and were 4 down before we knew it. Now these teams have seen, I'm guessing, what happened yesterday. Is that in any way going to cloud your judgment when you come out to bat at the wankhede? You're not quite sure what sort of pitch you're going to get?
Well, I think teams will overthink it for the first 5 overs, and then that will dictate what they believe the wicket is about, what they believe a score that they can defend is. So Punjab Kings have that opportunity first up, and KL is exceptionally experienced, and he will understand that. And also being captain helps a lot with that decision making. So good teams will adjust and assess in these circumstances. But I think a 5 over mark is a fair amount of time to decide whether this is a 200 wicket or 150 wicket or something in between. And I think what teams do poorly is they don't find the in-between score as quickly as possible. The wankhede is 200, 220, let's go. And then the wicket's not as good as we expect, and all of a sudden we drop down to 150, whereas it's probably a 170, 175 wicket, and the ability to get to that score sets out the good teams from the average ones.
It's interesting you make that point, Dan, because you think the only 2 people in a position to make that call are the two opening batsmen. Even if there is a lot of people in the dugout, head coaches, analysts, and whatnot. Dan, if I'll just stick with you on this, but is that sort of thing you only need your opening batsman to figure out and tell you, okay, this may not be the 200 game?
Yeah, they have to send the information back as quickly as possible, and sometimes with the emotion of batting at wankhede, it can get away from you, and you continue to think along the lines of, well, we need 200, and your judgment can be a little bit clouded, probably particularly in those first 2 overs where the ball's pretty hard. So you want to leave it to a 5 over mark and let the experience of a Mayank Agarwal or KL Rahul send messages back, and they have to be calm and clear messages, because the number 3 batsman needs that information quickly and so on. So once that information comes back, the coaching staff can talk to batsmen around how to go about their innings and how it may differ from how they previously planned.
So in that case, when your opening batsmen are going in, Irfan, all right, no problem. Getting a call from the BCCI bosses.
I'll call you back.
It's room service.
It's room service. Yeah,
I think it was a coaching call. They were just me to be doing some coaching. So
how do we do it? How do we get right?
I'm busy here. Yeah, but looking at the conversation, what Dan was saying as well was a fantastic one. What he said about sending the message. But sometimes, if the good openers with a good technique, if they're playing really well, confidently, if they're not missing the ball too much, you don't even have to send the message. Batsmen will be sending the message how they play without even saying anything to the dressing room that, look, everything is fine, pitch is fine.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at yesterday's game, for example. You think you have Prithvi Shaw, Shikhar Dhawan. Dhawan is such an experienced, all-format player. Once Shaw got out, you thought maybe Dhawan will take some time, assess, but he got out playing one of the aggressive shots as well. And you've got Rahul and Mayank today. Are you expecting one batsman to perhaps take a role, Irfan, that, right, you know what, I'm going to just see things through, see how things are going for the first 4 or 5 overs. Mayank Agarwal can go have a crack, and then you sort of reassess after the dances, after that 5-over period. Is that the sort of chat you have when you're not sure how a pitch might play?
Yeah, so with these 2 guys, I'll be very, very relaxed. If I'm there in the Kings and Punjab's dressing room, I'll be very relaxed because I know both the batsmen, they're very technically correct, and they play generally cricketing shots. They don't play across the line. They generally have, when they play in the air also, they are generally the extension of the ground shot. So, I'll be very relaxed. I'll be just watching them, how they go about it, and then react to it. Because see, the kind of batting lineup they have in terms of firepower, they have Chris Gayle batting at number 3, then Huda, then Nicholas Puran. So they generally like to start Kings and Punjab, especially with KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal. Normally, no matter what kind of pitch it is, for 2 overs, they'll just play normal cricket. And if they find that now it needs to go aerial route, they'll do it anyway.
Okay. Well, they started with Rahul and Mayank. Chris Gale 3. We thought Puran 4, but Deepak Hooda walked in at 4 last time, in spite of there being a right-hander Rahul at the other end. Is that the way they're going to go today as well, Irfan? Deepak Hooda has earned himself a chance to bat for a long period of time at number 4 now.
And that's how it should be, because I said it before as well. Like, if Huda is batting number 4, then that gives a lot of chances to Nicholas Puran and Shahrukh to have a really good base before they come into bat. So, and he's a perfect guy because I've seen him grow. Now his area of playing has become much better. Like, he plays on the offside as well. He tries to play straight. Before, he was only one-dimensional, where he used to play on the leg side. So he's improved a lot. So now, when we see that, especially on in the first game, I think they need to continue to that. And even in interview, he said that there was a proper plan to send him number 4. That's why they have talked about even before the game. So it was not like that if wicket will fall, we'll send you. If wicket doesn't fall, we will not send you. It was a proper number 4 batsman for them.
I'm just trying to think of whether players get labelled with what they can do in an IPL side, Dan. And Deepak Hooda has actually been around for a long time. He's not that old, but he's been around the IPL circuit for a long time. And essentially, teams picked him up to do the job at number 6, maybe 7, or at least certainly not higher than 5. And whether then that somewhat limits you from getting the chance to do other things that you may well be capable of. Could this be something that the Punjab team have discovered, that Hooda is actually good enough or capable enough? I know it's only one innings, but to bat at number 4, but unfortunately his reputation at other franchises and teams pick him up has never allowed him this sort of opportunity.
Yeah, I think some franchises can select with freedom, and they can see something in a player and put him in that position, and then find something. I don't think they would have thought they would have got exactly what they got in the first game, which is exceptional innings by Deepak Hooda. But it's the teams that have I suppose, can go one or two ways. They either have the maturity to be flexible with a batting order like CSK, where Dhoni comes in and out, or teams need to have their set, or they need to be in their positions where they know what they're going to do every game. And it's fascinating seeing the different teams and how they deal with it and how they're able to adapt. But I think Hooda is the sort of player that can bat that number 4 position and give Punjab Kings something different to what he's given in other teams. And it is because he's worked on his game. It is because he's opened up areas all around the field. And I think you see a more mature and a more well-rounded Deepak Hooda. And that means that we're going to see a better player.
Okay, I mean, Irfan, you followed Deepak Hooda's career so closely. He's had a tough time of it in domestic cricket, fell out with the Baroda side, and all sorts of conversations on whether he'll bounce back in this IPL or not. Must be very happy for him. This sort of impact early on when you start a season well always works well for a domestic Indian player.
Obviously, I feel happy for any guy who's performing really well, especially young guy. Like I was happy with Chetan Sakaria. The kind of story he has coming back from a hard, the background which came and now started doing well for IPL, getting recognition as well. So same with Deepak Hooda. Obviously, the connection of being Barodian obviously does play a part on that. But and most importantly, because what has happened in the past with him, you just want those sort of guys to do really well because they are talented cricketers, and you don't want them to go astray just because something else has happened apart from cricketing ability. So I was really happy the way he has came back. And mind you, he hasn't played any competitive cricket in last 4 months. So all credit to him and his mentality as well. That he shows the character that not only, a lot of people are coming in IPL, playing a lot of matches, a lot of competitive matches. We're talking about Rishabh Pant, we're talking about all the other guys. They're playing international matches, some of them playing domestic matches. Here comes Hooda, who got half century, outstanding inning, without playing any sort of games.
Yep, it's been good for Deepak Hooda. He started this year's IPL well, and you think now he would come in ahead of Nicholas Puran. But let's see if he can carry that sort of game that he did in the first match against Rajasthan into this one as well. Okay, let's take a slight deviation from the game itself. It's time for a fun part of the pre-show that we tend to test the IPL IQ of Dan Vettori and Irfan Pathan. So it's time for our...
Dan is so ready.
First. Yeah, Irfan's already started getting calls with the answers. So let's see now. If those...
No, I just want to see how excited Dan is.
Yeah, you can see it for him. He couldn't care less. Right, let's get into it.
No. I feel like I'm nervous about my previous 2 encounters with this game.
All right, let's get the questions ready. Then it's time for our Intel Fastest Fan first. Okay, let's take our first question. I'll put them for you. How many Chennai wickets did Punjab's bowlers pick last season? So this is a googly to start with. How many
Must
Chennai
be zero.
wickets?
Zero, something silly like that.
Yeah. Dan Vettori says 0, and the answer is 1. Yeah, so it was close to 0, but essentially that's the combination of the Punjab bowlers, and they managed to just get the 1 wicket. Yeah,
One game
it's a
they just won. Yeah,
That's
without
right.
loss.
That's right. So that's where this trick question came from. Nobody gets the points, but anyway, let's take our next question, shall we? In which year did Punjab last qualify for the playoffs? All right, let's roll back our
Glenn
idea.
Maxwell's year, Dubai, UAE.
And that year would be
14?
Yeah,
14?
it was 2014. That was the year.
Yeah, Irfan motivated me today.
Y'all can share the points from that. Share the points. CSK were beaten in the second qualifier that year for a Punjab KKR
George
final.
Bailey captain, is that it?
George Bailey was captain. Yeah, Sanjay Bangar was coach that year. But yes, that's the answer I was looking for. Right, let's take our next one. Which Punjab player won the purple cap in 2018? Okay. Purple cap 2018, leading wicket taker.
Was it? I think I'm guessing, but was Sandeep still playing for Punjab?
No. 2018. It's an overseas seamer. Let me give you a hint. It's an overseas seamer. He's
Okay. Can I? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Dan Vettori is giving the answer. It is Andrew Tye. 24 wickets in 2018 for Andrew Tye. Now part of the Rajasthan Royals setup. But yeah, that's the answer I was looking for. Good. So you guys work.
Well done.
If you guys work
Thank
in
you,
one,
Irfan. Thanks for setting me up.
really well against others. Yeah, you guys
Yeah,
have
I
done
think
well.
we can work as a team, support staff.
Yeah, I get it. All right. Next year, when the new IPL franchise is announced, you could have a head coach Dan Vettori and a director of cricket Irfan Pathan, or whatever it may be. That's how it rolls. All right.
What role do you want, Raunak?
I will ask questions about why this team's doing poorly on this show. Right. Okay, thanks for that, Dan Vettori, Irfan Pathan. More from you in 20 overs time. So let's pick up the chat then on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for Time Out, powered by Intel. See you then. See how Punjab go against CSK in this one.
We call it people technology.
インテル入ってる